Alright, welcome to today's lesson, telling adjectives and adverbs apart. Hopefully you've already seen the adverbs lesson that explains what adverbs do and how to find them in a sentence. This is kind of an add-on lesson to that because I just want you to have the opportunity to practice a little bit more telling adjectives and adverbs apart because they're often confused with each other. Sometimes kids will think an adjective is an adverb or an adverb is an adjective. So what we want to do is take a look at some sentences and see if we can figure out whether the underlined word is either an adjective or an adverb. And if you can get really good at telling them apart, then I think you're on your way to really mastering both of these grammar concepts. So this is really just practice. I'm not really going to talk about the differences so much. I've done that in earlier lessons, but this is just a chance to practice, and I'll explain the answers as we go along. So let's get started. Let's take a look at our first sentence. Alright, here's our first sentence. I have just started this lesson. Let me underline the word that we need to identify. There we go. So see if you can identify whether just is an adjective or an adverb. Alright, good. If you identified just as an adverb, then you are correct. The reason why just is an adverb is because it's modifying started, and started is a verb. Remember, that's what adverbs do. They modify either verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Alright, let's look at another sentence. Now, our second sentence reads, I have less schoolwork than usual tonight. And if you do, then good for you. It's always nice to kind of get a bit of a break. See if you can identify what less is in this sentence. Is it an adjective or is it an adverb? Alright, good. If you identified less as an adjective, right, then you are correct. And the reason why less is an adjective is because it's modifying schoolwork, which is a noun. Right? And that's what adjectives do. Adjectives modify nouns. Alright? An adverb will never modify a noun, right? Because that's the job of an adjective. Alright, let's take a look at another sentence and see how you do on that. And here's our third sentence. The plane flew high overhead. Tell me if high is an adverb or an adjective. Alright, good. If you identified high as an adverb, then you are correct. And the reason why high is an adverb is because it modifies flew, which is a verb. Alright, now high may look like an adjective, alright, but remember what adverbs do. They modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. In this case, it's modifying a verb, and therefore high is an adverb. So if you got that right, then you're doing great, because this is kind of tricky. But again, if you can tell the difference between adverbs and adjectives, and this is kind of a tough one, then good job on this. Let's do a few more in the next slide. Alright, in our first example sentence, see if you can tell me what long is in this sentence and what cold is in this sentence. Alright, good. If you identified long as an adverb and cold as an adjective, then you are correct. Now, long may look like an adjective because it's right in front of the noun drink, alright, but the drink isn't long. Okay, what is long is what Lucy took. Right, Lucy took a long drink. So long is an adverb because it's modifying the verb took. And cold is an adjective because it's modifying water, which is a noun. Okay, so there's a good example of an adverb and an adjective in the same sentence doing different things. Okay, so if you got that right, great job. Let's do another one. Sentence 2. Joey skates better than Timmy. What is better in this sentence? And if you identified better as an adverb, then you are correct. And the reason why better is an adverb is because it's modifying skates, which is a verb. Okay? And here's an example of a comparative adverb. Okay? And as soon as you see that word then you know that we're in the comparative form. Right? Because we would have good, better is the comparative, and best would be the superlative. And just remember that adverbs can be in a comparative or superlative form as well. Here's an example of an adverb in its comparative form. And I know probably you've seen this before with adjectives, but again, sometimes better is an adjective, but in this case it's an adverb because it's modifying a verb. And that's what adverbs do. All right, let's do another one. All right, sentence 4. The man wanted a faster car. See if you can figure out what faster is in this sentence. All right, good. If you identified faster as an adjective, then you are correct. The reason why faster is an adjective is because it's modifying car, and car is a noun. And again, that's what adjectives do. They modify nouns. All right, wanted is a verb, right? But no, faster is not modifying or describing wanted. It's modifying the car or describing the car. And again, that's why it's an adjective. So here we have an example of a comparative adverb, and here we have an example of a comparative adjective. So both adverbs and adjectives can be in their comparative form, or they could be in their superlative form. But adverbs are adverbs, adjectives are adjectives, because they do different things. All right, so hopefully this is becoming a little more clear for you. Let's do another one. All right, last sentence, and let's see if we can figure out what hard is doing in this sentence. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you leave toast out on the counter for too long. All right, good. If you identified hard as an adverb, then you are correct. And the reason why is because hard is modifying become, which is a verb. And again, that's what adverbs do. They modify verbs. Okay? So hopefully this has been helpful to you. You have some sentences here that use both adjectives and adverbs. Kind of get a sense of what they do, that they do different things. And again, just a reminder that adverbs, they will modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs, whereas an adjective, we capitalize that, will modify nouns. So as long as you know the difference between nouns and, say, verbs and adjectives and adverbs, then you should be able to tell the difference between these two things, adverbs and adjectives. So thanks for stopping by. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.